Welcome to my YouTube channel Wise Whispers, where silence speaks. The day I made the final payment on the house was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it became the day I lost everything. My name is Liam, and I am 65 years old. I still remember standing in front of that house, the sunlight falling across the faded blue walls, the same walls I had painted myself 30 years ago. My hands trembled, not from age, but from pride. Every brick, every corner, every scratch on that door had a memory attached to it. I had built that house for my family, for my son, for our future, and yet that very evening my son took the keys from my hand, looked me in the eye and said words I never thought I would hear: "Go away." Beginning of a dream. I wasn't always old and tired. Once I was a young man full of dreams. I worked 2 jobs, one at a construction site during the day and another as a night guard. My wife, Sarah, used to worry about me. "Liam," she would say softly, placing her hand over mine, "you're pushing yourself too hard," but I would always smile. "I'm not doing this for me," I'd reply. "I'm doing this for us and for our son." Son Daniel was the light of our lives. I still remember the day he was born. I held him in my arms and made a silent promise: I will give you everything I never had, and I meant it, building a life years past. Life wasn't easy, but it was meaningful. I saved every penny I could. No vacations, no luxuries. Sometimes even basic comforts had to wait. But slowly, brick by brick, we built our home. Daniel grew up within those walls, laughing, running, learning. I taught him how to ride a bicycle in the front yard. Sarah cooked his favorite meals in the kitchen. We were not rich, but we were happy. Then one day life changed. Sarah fell ill. It happened so quickly that I barely had time to understand it. Hospital visits, medicines, sleepless nights, it all became a blur. I spent everything I had trying to save her, but fate had other plans. The day she passed away, something inside me broke. I was no longer building a life, I was just trying to survive. A father's sacrifice after Sarah's death. Daniel and I were all that remained. I poured everything I had into raising him. I wanted him to succeed, to have a better life than mine. I worked even harder, even longer. When he wanted to study abroad, I sold a piece of land I had inherited. When he needed money to start a business, I took a loan. When he got married, I welcomed his wife into our home with open arms. "This house is yours too," I told her. I believed we were a family. I believed we were together. The slow change at first, everything seemed fine. Daniel and his wife Emily were polite, respectful even. But slowly, things began to change. It started with small things. "Dad, you should rest more," Daniel would say. "Maybe you shouldn't interfere in our decisions," Emily would add with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I didn't think much of it. I thought they just wanted independence. But over time, the warmth disappeared, meals became silent, conversations became short, laughter faded, and I became invisible. The final payment years later, I finally reached the end of my biggest responsibility, the house loan. After decades of struggle, sacrifice, and sleepless nights, I walked into the bank and made the final payment. The manager shook my hand. "Congratulations, Mr. Liam. The house is now fully yours." I smiled, my eyes filled with tears, fully mine. I couldn't wait to go home and share the moment with my son. The breaking point that evening, I walked into the house with a box of sweets. "Daniel," I called out happily. "It's done. The house is finally—" Before I could finish, he interrupted. "We need to talk." His tone was cold. I felt something tighten in my chest. "What's wrong?" I asked. Emily stepped forward, crossing her arms. "We think it's time you moved out." I blinked, confused. "Moved out? This is my home." Looked away. "Dad, it's our home now." Heart skipped a beat. "I don't understand." He took a deep breath and walked toward me. Then slowly he extended his hand. The keys. I stared at him, unable to process what was happening. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," he replied firmly, "that you've done enough. It's time for you to go." Hands began to shake. "I built this house for you." "We're grateful," Emily said sharply, "but we need our space." Then Daniel said the words that shattered me: "Go away." Away. I don't remember how long I stood there. Seconds, minutes. It felt like time had stopped. I looked around the house, my house. Every corner held a memory. Every wall echoed with laughter from the past. And yet I no longer belonged there. Slowly I placed the keys in Daniel's hand. "Take care of it," I said quietly. Then I turned and walked away. No bag. No plan, no destination, just a broken heart. A new beginning. That night I slept on a park bench. At 65 years old I had nothing left. No home, no family, no purpose, or so I thought. The next morning as the sun rose, I realized something. I was still alive. And as long as I was alive, my story wasn't over. Finding strength again. Days turned into weeks. I found shelter in a small community center that helped elderly people. They gave me food, a place to sleep, and most importantly, kindness. For the first time in years, someone asked me, "Are you okay?" And I broke down, not because I was weak, but because I had been strong for too long. A different kind of family at the center. I met people like me, people who had been forgotten, people who had been left behind. But together we found something we had lost: belonging. I started helping out, fixing things, teaching younger volunteers basic skills, sharing stories. For the first time in years, I felt useful again. I felt alive. The unexpected return. One afternoon, months later, I saw a familiar face. Daniel. He looked different, tired, stressed, older. "Dad," he said softly. I didn't respond. "I'm sorry," he continued, his voice shaking. "I made a mistake." I looked at him calmly. What happened? He hesitated. The house, we lost it. Debt, bad decisions. It's gone. I nodded slowly. And need your help. It was the same son who told me to go away was now asking me to come back. The choice. I stood there looking at him. I could feel the pain of the past rising within me, but I also felt something else. Peace. I forgave you a long time ago, I said quietly, his eyes filled with hope. You'll help? Shook my head gently. No. Froze. Because helping you now wouldn't teach you anything, I replied. You need to learn responsibility. The same way I did. He lowered his head. I understand. Then I placed my hand on his shoulder. I'll always be your father, and when you truly stand on your own feet, I'll be here. Forward. Daniel left that day, not with money, not with help, but with something far more valuable, a lesson. As for me, I didn't go back to that house, because I realized something important. Home is not a place. It's where you are valued, and I had finally found mine. Moral of the story: never take the love and sacrifices of your parents for granted. A house can be built with money, but a home is built with love, respect, and gratitude. And once broken, trust is not easily rebuilt.